Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while, but today is Imbolc. It is tonight into tomorrow. It is pagan holiday, and it is the halfway point between the new year for pagans. So I thought I would do a reading, and in the spirit of Imbolc, maybe not in the spirit of Imbolc, for whatever reason, we're bringing the mermaids back. I know, guys, we haven't seen the mermaids in a while. I haven't used this deck, but we're gonna use that today because I felt to. I don't know, because I did. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. I trust your day is unfolding beautifully, and I'm gonna explain something real quick while I'm shuffling. I was having dinner with my friend Sophia, probably way too long ago now since I've seen her, but she explained to me that she doesn't tell someone to have a good day, or I hope you have a good day, because that would be living in the future. We're doing our best to stay present. The other reason we don't say we hope you have a good day is because it would imply that the day could go bad, right? When you say, I trust, your day is unfolding beautifully. A, you're staying present. And B, you are trusting, literally. And from a psychological perspective, I think just using the word trust more often will program our subconscious mind to trust. And maybe that means trust yourself, trust others, trust God, trust the divine, trust the universe, trust your dogs, trust the cards, just trust, right? Because what is trust? Think about that. What is that concept of trust? Well, oddly enough, this word is a thing for me today, and if you notice, I've got two of them. Believe. Yeah. I don't know what else I want to say about that other than to suggest that you yourself explore what trust and what believe mean to you. In my world, it means that I have no worries. I don't worry about anything because I trust and I believe that everything is in my highest good, bad, or otherwise. And I've always landed on my feet. Maybe, at times it's taken me way too long to get to that point of landing on my feet, but it's the same destination every time, right? It's always ends with me leveling up, learning something better comes along. If you had asked me, guys, 5 years ago, would I be sitting in Albuquerque, New Mexico doing readings on YouTube, I would have told you that you are batshit crazy. Instead, I'm sitting here in Albuquerque, New Mexico doing readings on YouTube, and I tell people as a prerequisite to knowing me, you need to understand I'm batshit crazy. So, in the end, you never know where you're going to end up, but just trust that where you get to is where you need to be. It's exactly where you need to be. It's the perfect place. It's the perfect time. So with that, happy Imbolc, and you're halfway there from a pagan perspective. And anyway, let's get to these cards. So we're going to get a reading. We're calling in only beautiful spirits, guides, ancestors, divine, God, source, creator. Could you give us a read on the current energy? Can I get some cards on what the current energy is? Oh, look at that, Six of Cups. So Six of Cups always means nostalgia, but I like it in this deck because they're all children, right? And it's children in most decks or whatever, but what I like about this one, she's filling her own cup. They're sharing an equal cup, right? They're not giving, they're not receiving. It's just enjoying them together. She's listening to her cup. And this one is just playing, just overall, like a child. So I think this is remembering your gifts, right? Your gifts come from you. They come from friends. They come from things you hear. They come from being playful. I had a client yesterday who was asking me how to connect more with her intuition. And I think maybe that's the energy I'm feeling here, is people are wanting to connect with their intuition. And people, what we don't realize, and I do mean we, because I forget all the time, our gifts, our messages, our spirit guides, you know, they have these classes like how to channel your spirit guides, and, you know, all this fancy magic, big pomp and circumstance kind of stuff. Guys, it's all around you all the time. Okay? God is everywhere. Your guides are everywhere. Your intuition is everywhere all the time, because it's energy. It's not an entity or a person or a thing that comes to visit you and then leaves. Okay? It's just not. What your intuition, your spirit guides, whatever, you know, whatever word you want to call it, it's there always. It's not calling in your guides. It's telling your guides that you are paying attention, that you're open to it, that you are ready to hear and receive what it is they're saying. I learned that a while ago, and it took me a long time to realize that I can get messages, but not, well, we'll use the word messages. There's going to be a better word for that at some point in this reading, but right now we're going to call it messages. I get them all the time. They never stop. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be watching TV and I'll get a message in something the character says. I could be listening to a song and I'll hear it in the lyric. I could be listening to Buddha flute music like you hear in the background, and I can get a feeling of calm, of sense of peace. It's not about articulating it all the time. Okay, let me give you an example. Have you ever been around a person who just their presence makes you feel better? I have a friend like that, and actually I have more than one friend like that, but there's one in particular that I can think of that before I was as aware or as conscious as I am now, I couldn't explain why when something went wrong. I didn't need him to say anything. I didn't need him to fix it. I didn't even need him to hug me. I just needed him in the room, and everything felt better. Some people have that calming energy, and it doesn't even mean that he has that energy for everyone, but he had it for me. That was the frequency of peace for me. Now, looking back on it, I don't know. It just was like, and it still is. It always has been. He just gets me. No words need to be spoken. We can sit in the same room, not even near each other, and I feel better. Was it him? Or is he just channeling the frequency, showing me the frequency that is my peaceful frequency? Anyway, I digress. Gifts, they're all around you guys. You just need to open up to them. You need to tell your guides, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm listening, right? If you don't listen in school, you don't hear nothing. You don't learn nothing. If you pay attention and you listen, you're more apt to, you know, pass that class, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Tell me about this Six of Cups energy. Tell me about the Six of Cups. Four of Swords in reverse. So Four of Swords is usually a time to go within. It's that, look at all the white rabbits in there. That's so cool. Sarah, yeah, that was for you. We've got all these white animals, right? And what is white? It's purity, it's renewal, it's winter, it's snow. You know, what does white mean to you? I could tell you a bunch of like star chakra or blah, blah, blah. It means this. You could go look it up on Google and it'll tell you that. But what does it mean to you? When you see the color white, what does that mean to you? To me, it's innocence and it's purity. And the Four of Swords is when she puts up those boundaries, right? And she goes within and she's in her winter and she's as cold as ice, right? I mean, she's in an ice cube here. She's this reminds me, and the only reason I see Snow White, or a sleeping beauty, right? And a sleeping curse, where they're going within, they are in another world for a time being, right? But this came in reverse, so it's time for that reflection to end. And reflection, look at the reflection of the polar bear, right? It's time for that to go. It's time to come out of your cocoon. It's time to start applying those things that you've learned. You know, in my world, we isolate a lot, and we do a lot of research, and we look things up, and we listen to videos, and, you know, I listen to a lot of philosophy, I listen to psychology, I listen to tarot, I listen to a very wide range of things. And actually, my girlfriend this morning sent me a song. It's kind of a joke between, there's three of us that we all get songs in our head in the morning, right? I don't know if this was the song in her head, but anyway, when I woke up, she had texted me this song and shared it with me. And it was the Book of Revelations by Dax. Now, those of you that know me well know that my son is very into rap, and I am very not into rap. And I had joked with him a while back that he should write Christian rap. And he told me I was nuts, that there was no market for it. Well, apparently Dax heard me. But he wrote this song called Book of Revelations. Go look it up. It's a really, really cool song. There's one part in the song where he talks about what if living is evil, because it's reversing the word, right? And if you guys know me, I do a lot with words. But anyway, it's time to come out and apply those lessons and those all that research, right? If you have all this knowledge, if you've attained all this knowledge, you've read all these books, you've gone through and you've, I don't know, filled your brain with all of these facts, what good are they if you don't use them, right? That's how knowledge turns into power, turns into wisdom. When they say walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. You know, we can sit in a classroom and theorize all day long, but until we take those theories out and apply them to our lives, what good has it done us? Yeah, okay, so you know a lot of stuff. Big fucking deal. Go do something with it, right? Why are you learning it? What is the point? What is your goal? Another friend of mine yesterday called and said she got 2 different jobs. Both jobs are amazing. I mean, she's an amazing person. I'm not even remotely surprised that she got them both. But my question to her was, what's your ultimate goal? That's how you decide. You know, guys, opportunities are going to come at us left and right, especially as you start to level up. People want to be around you because you're going to have that calming energy that we talked about in the beginning. Make your choices based on your goals. What's your end game, right? What's the end game? Where do you want to go? She told me about these 2 different jobs, and then she said, well, what would you do? So I explained to her why I would have made the choice I made, or I would have made, given those 2 choices. And I said, but that's me. My goal in the end is to help people. My goal in the end is to help people find their truth, to uncover the mystery that is them, right? To shed and pull away and peel away all the layers of all the bullshit that the world told you you had to be, and see who you truly are. That is my goal. That's been my goal for myself. That's my goal for the world. So my choice of jobs would have been drastically different. Enter, I'm a human services major in college, but I digress. Okay. So, you know, ask yourself that, guys. Is every decision you're making in the step towards your goal? Is it on your journey, or are you being diverted? Interesting question. Oh, let's see. So what can we expect from applying all this knowledge and listening to our guides and understanding our world a little bit better on this halfway point of the pagan year? What can we expect to come across? The Fool, brand new beginning. Look at that, guys. I mean, it's beautiful. Brand new beginnings. Here's what I think is awesome about this deck, and I'm so glad I grabbed this deck in particular. It's a mermaid deck, right? Usually in the traditional Fool card, he's jumping off a cliff and the bag is behind him, and it's a him. In this deck, she's coming out of the water, right? This is like Ariel who gets her legs, and her bag is in front of her and her staff is in front of her. and she's looking up instead of down, right? She's coming up out of emotion. She's coming up out of her world into a new world. And I do mean worlds, right? The Fool doesn't always imply that you are in a new world. It implies that you are taking a leap of faith sometimes, or entering a new cycle. But in this card, it's a whole new world. And I can't get that song out of my head now because I love The Little Mermaid, those of you that know me. Part of your world is The Little Mermaid. A Whole New World is a different Disney song, and I can't remember which one it is. I'm sure you guys are screaming at the video right now, trying to tell me what it is, but A Whole New World. She's got legs, but she's retaining the scales from her tail, right? And her tail is there, but it's been assimilated back into the ocean. All right, guys, we're energy. Everything is energy, and that's just science. Like, that's not tarot, that's not woo-woo, that's not religious. It just is. Everything's energy. Energy can be neither created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed. Okay, so when we change our frequency and whatnot, our energy, those energies that we're not using or we've replaced with new energies, blah, 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 it gets assimilated back into the universe, right? And that's, I think, what's happening here with her tail. She is taking on new legs, but her tail didn't disappear. It didn't cease to exist. It just got assimilated back into the ocean. If you think of the universal energy as the ocean, guys, we are drops of water within that ocean, but we're still the ocean. So, whole new world, whole new thing of possibilities opening up, whole new outlook on life and seeing things differently, flipping them around. Like I said, she's coming up out of the water instead of looking down on a cliff. It's looking at things from the opposite perspective. I've been kind of understanding for myself lately that everything for me is backwards. You know, I might take a tarot class and everything that they say, I see it the opposite way. I might take an intuition, like, yeah, for example, my intuition class, which I loved, and I miss it, but it was time for me to move on. They all saw things this way, and I was seeing them this way. You know, we weren't seeing, not that we were right, not that we were wrong. We're just different. We're going in different directions. And I got what I needed to get while we were on the same frequency. But as mine started to shift, guys, it's time to move on, right? That's what this card means. Just let things unfold as they're meant to. And then we get the Four of Wands in reverse. The Four of Wands, I usually call it like the marriage card. I mean, because they look like they're on their honeymoon, right? They're protected. They're alone. The volcano is not erupting. Got a nice picnic basket here. Reminds me of Moana. The light of the full moon illuminating the emotions, but the emotions are calm, right? They're not, there's not a storm brewing under this water. There's no excess of emotions, if you will, but we've got this in reverse. So I don't feel like that means the opposite. What I feel like that means is the rest of the world is starting to see it this way, right? Change the perspective. If I'm sitting here looking at the card and the world is sitting there, Four of Wands is for the world. The world is going to start to calm and be more loving and be more of that energy where no words need to be spoken, to console, to make someone feel better, right? That's the rest of the world doing this as a result of you doing this. They go together, guys, right? As she's walking out, they're starting to see this. When you change yourself, you change the world around you. And I often thought, you know, that's just a really big concept for me to understand. Like, your thoughts turn to things, you create your own reality. You know, you can only change the world by changing yourself. And you hear these things, guys, and it's a lot of times you just want to say, you know, what the fuck? The world sucks. I'm sorry. I can't change the whole world by changing myself. That's selfish. I'm not helping people, blah, blah, blah. When you change yourself and you come out of this world that you were in and you start to see things from a higher perspective and you start to see things from the place of love only, right? When somebody does something bad to you and you understand that they're reacting to their childhood wounds and not to what you are doing in the moment. And you have that compassion. And that compassion almost becomes a habit. When you start to change that about yourself, the world starts to become more loving towards you. And it's it's almost scary in a sense when you start to see the results of that, because you don't understand. Like for me, instance, I have 2 kids, and I've been trying my whole life to teach them right from wrong, to teach them to do this or that or the other thing, whatever. It wasn't until I stopped completely and taught myself, and suddenly I can see them growing around me, and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? I didn't do anything. And it's a result of being the inspiration, being the example, instead of being the teacher and lecturer, right? And I don't, not teacher, because teacher, I respect and love and adore teachers. It's not the word I wanted to use, but it's not the, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's not the domineering, I can't think of the word. The one that just tells you what to do all the time, right? I'm sure you guys know the word. Screaming at the video again. I love when you guys scream at the video because I can hear you. It's the slave owner mentality, right? Where you're just going to do what I tell you to do, because when I grew up, I was told what I was going to do. And so we repeat these cycles and blah, blah, blah. And when you sit back and just allow people to be who they are and to make their mistakes and not judge them and not even mention it, not, just let it be, Beatles song, let it be. Anyway, that's where we're at, right? There's just know it's a new world. See everybody coming from a place of love and trying to heal their own wounds and not trying to hurt you. Okay? What's the advice moving forward for our little Imbolc reading today? What's our advice? The Devil. I do love this card. The guy I was telling you about, the energy guy that makes me feel better, his birthday is on the 15th, and the Devil is the 15th card, and he's a Capricorn, and the Devil is a Capricorn card. So, we have these things around us, all these shiny objects and whatnot, and they feel out of reach, right? They look like, oh, that all sounds well and good, but I can't get to it because I'm locked in this cage and all my riches are out here. Guys, that lock is not locked. She need only push it open with her tail to have everything she wants. Everything you want is on the other side of your own fear. Everything you want is on the other side of your own doubt. Everything you want is on the other side of your healing, of your understanding, of your compassion, of your love, and of your authentic true self. Everything you want is on the other side of it. Understand that. Break out of that cage, okay? Break out of it and understand that you're the only one holding you back. Nobody has put you in the cage. Nobody puts baby in the corner, right? She needed him to stand up for her, to teach her how to stand up for herself. Do you know why that is? It's not that it's not that she didn't have the strength to do it for herself. She had never been taught to do it. Her parents didn't know how to do it. They didn't teach her how to do it because it was a new concept in her world, right? Something brand new, a whole new world. She didn't know she had the right to stand up for herself. She didn't know that being true to herself was worth standing up and fighting for. And Patrick Swayze taught her that, right? Go back and watch that movie. I'm going to go back and watch that movie today because now I got to hear him say, nobody puts baby in a corner. But anyway, I think, I like that there. I don't think I'm going to pull more tarot on this, but I am going to pull an animal card. The pagan religion is very into nature and animals, and I feel it only fitting that we honor involved today with a spirit animal card. So what spirit animal is with us on the second half of the Pagan Year's journey? What spirit animal is with us today? What spirit animal is with us today? Tight-lipped. Let's see. What spirit animal is with us today? There you go. Opossum strategy. Have a backup plan. So, guys, trust and believe, but be smart about it, right? When good and bad things happen, prepare for those things, right? There's a strategy to it. You're playing chess. This game of life is a game of chess. It's not checkers, right? You don't just react to each one little thing. You got to kind of set things up for yourself. Have that strategy, right? Our opossum is black and white. We've had a lot of black and white lately, in my world anyway, and it's been a lot of shadow work. It's a lot of looking back on your life as an observer and understanding that you weren't perfect. You weren't always the victim. Sometimes you were the perpetrator, right? Sometimes you were the one hurting someone else, and you may not have even known that. And chances are you didn't know that, and I'm sure you didn't mean it. Maybe you did. I don't know. I don't judge. The point being, look back on it and own it. I don't care if you tell another soul, but tell yourself. Own it for yourself. Understand it for yourself moving forward. Oppose, right? That's part of opossum. Opposing forces. You've been on both sides of the coin. Okay? You've been the victim and you've been the perpetrator. You've been the mother and you've been the daughter. You've been the father and you've been the son. You've been everything at some point in your life. I'm not talking about some massive pomp and circumstance, reincarnation, woo-woo stuff. I'm talking about every day you wake up, you chose a hat. And maybe it's from hour to hour, right? Maybe you, when you're raising little kids, my daughter, she's got 2 little kids, right? She wakes up in the morning and she's got to put on the mom hat. Then she goes to work, she's got to put on the boss hat. Then she comes home to pick up the kids from her Nana's house, and now she's the granddaughter hat. And then she puts back on the mom hat. And then she goes home and she's got to be the girlfriend hat. Like, how many cloaks do we wear throughout the day? And then if you take those days and you look over the years that you've lived, how many hats, how many cloaks, how many shoes have you worn in your life? You couldn't possibly have always been the victim. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. Maybe if you're Jesus, maybe if you're Buddha. And even then, they wouldn't tell you that they were victims. They just, because there is no perpetrator and victim, there just is in their world. They are ascended to the point of there is no good, there's no bad, there just is. That's what we're trying to get to. You can only get there when you believe that that is the case. When you believe everything is in your highest good, bad, or otherwise. Believe that God is a loving God, that God does not punish. We punish ourselves. Have you ever heard that saying? You're your own worst critic. Why do you think that is, guys? If you were your own worst critic, that means you're criticizing yourself more than God does. Okay? These concepts, everybody thinks they need to be really, really big and really, really dramatic and really, really out there. They're not. They've been around us the whole time. The whole time. We just didn't see them because we thought, well, it can't be that. It can't be that simple. It can't be that little. It must be something bigger. It must be something universal. Guys, it's universal when it means it to you. You are the universe. When things make sense to you, when you start to see things for yourself, you are the universe. Because if you don't see it, does it really exist in your world? You know, let's go back to the example of don't put baby in a corner. She didn't know she could stand up for herself. In her world, in her universe, that was not a thing until somebody taught her, till she opened her eyes to see it. And she had to sneak out to do it, if you remember. She followed her intuition. She stepped into a new world, right? I'm going to read from the book for Possum because I feel like I'm kind of on a soapbox. I don't know why. I kind of feel like I'm, I don't know, lecturing or something. Don't get attached to one and only plan. Always have a plan B, or at least a few other approaches to the subject of your inquiry. Too often you'll find yourself stuck with an agenda about how things should be or how you should act in a given situation. Whether or not the plan you're acting on is one that will work, one definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So this time, try something new if your first approach doesn't work. So instead of turning left, turn right. Listen closely to your inner promptings here. You'll find clues as to what to do all around you and inside of you if you just pay attention. It may not be obvious at first, but opening your eyes, ears, senses, you'll find some delightfully ingenious ways of approaching the situation so the outcome will be in your favor and in alignment with the will of spirit. And this is talking about grasping, agility, maternal instinct, and stability. So, I mean, it's the whole reading. It's everything we said, right? Different perspectives and whatnot. But I do like that they brought up the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. If you don't change who you are, your world cannot change. Think about it that way. Not doing the same thing, being the same person is going to leave you in the same world. You can't expect your world to change if you don't change. Right? And you've got a different perspective. You're coming into a whole new world. The world is going to be more loving to you if you only realize everything else is everything you want. All your riches, all your treasures is in the other side of your own mind. So understand that, guys. It's time. It is time to put the pedal to the metal. No, I'm just kidding. It's time to put action to your words and your thoughts, right? You can't just speak about change. You've got to be the change. I hope that makes sense. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I love you so, so much. Happy Imbolc, and we'll talk soon. Love and light.